Happy Monday. Hope everybody had a good lunch. Hope everybody's recovering from the weekend. It was a good 49ers game. They're now 5-5, and we're entering what's going to be a jam-packed week. Happy Thanksgiving to you and all your families. But football is coming, and big football is coming for the 49ers when they play the Vikings on Sunday. Let me get our Twitter friends to join us here because today we have some serious discussion to do to debunk some myths, debunk some conspiracy theories because they've gotten a little bit crazy over the course of the past couple of months. I haven't talked too much about the quarterback situation in an overarching sense in a while, but it's time to do it because Jimmy Garoppolo is playing some of the best football of his career, arguably the best football of his career. We'll break that down in a little bit. And Trey Lance is riding the bench right now. And there are reasons for all of this stuff that make perfect logical sense that shouldn't require fans to be reaching for wild conspiracy theories on Twitter or Facebook or whatever social media you're on. I understand that it gets clout, it gets clicks, all this and all that, but there is rhyme and reason to what's going on with the 49ers right now. And it's actually following right along the prescribed path. It wasn't for a few weeks there when the 49ers had lost 5 of 6 games, but now with 2 straight wins, they're 5-5. This is a very efficient football team, and it is definitely a playoff contender. So let's just start with this right here. The 49ers never expected Trey Lance to be QB1 in 2021. And this goes all the way back to their offseason flirtation with other quarterbacks and their trade up to be able to pick Trey Lance with the number 3 overall selection in the 2021 draft. When the 49ers took Lance out of North Dakota State, they did not project him to be the starting quarterback. They were realistic about things. They realized that he hadn't played in essentially over a season because they only had that one COVID season game for North Dakota State in his final year there. They realized he only had 318 passes at the FCS level. And they realized that this is the National Football League. You don't just walk in from the FCS after not having played in nearly 2 years and after only having delivered 318 passes at that level and take over a job in the NFL. It's just not realistic. So, no, Trey Lance never came close to outplaying Jimmy Garoppolo in training camp. And I've been very, very consistent with my reporting on this throughout the whole process. And if you want to look into what the 49ers are thinking, into their thought process inside the building, just follow along with common sense, follow along with the reporting. They pick Trey Lance. They say right away, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be on this team. Why do they say that? Because a guy with 318 career throws at FCS level is not going to come in and take an NFL job in his first season. There's going to be rawness there, especially in the context of Kyle Shanahan's offense, which is so complex with the run checks at the line of scrimmage and all the machinations that go with being a quarterback. It's just not going to work that way. The 49ers picked Trey Lance because Kyle Shanahan saw moldable clay. He saw a quarterback who could be the executor that he wants, that Jimmy Garoppolo is for the 49ers right now, combined with the athleticism that could break games open. Think Steve Young, who played for Mike Shanahan. Think John Elway, who played for Mike Shanahan. Those are 2 Hall of Fame talents. Also 2 Hall of Fame talents who took a while to get where they currently are, which is in the Hall of Fame, especially in the case of Steve Young, who probably is the most direct comparison to what the 49ers would ultimately want Trey Lance to be. They think they can make him accurate. They think they can make him win from the pocket, and they know that he has the athleticism to break games with his legs. But no, it wasn't going to happen overnight, and it definitely didn't happen at 49ers training camp. You see, so many people were wrong about this because they made the mistake of being prisoners of the moment. They were wowed by one throw in training camp from Trey Lance, and they thought that one deep pass against the second unit defense to Trent Sherfield meant that Trey Lance would all of a sudden vault his way into the starting quarterback position. Or they thought that one great pass against Arizona, against backups it wasn't against Arizona, one great pass against Kansas City, against backups in week 1 of the preseason from Trey Lance would somehow allow him to leapfrog Jimmy Garoppolo for the starting job. People thought that one individual play would cause the 49ers to take all of their 2021 plans and their long-term plans, which budgeted for Jimmy Garoppolo and included Jimmy Garoppolo as a starting quarterback for this season. They thought that one play, 2 plays from Trey Lance would take all of that, have them just crumple it up and throw it in the trash can. It is absolutely absurd to think that so many people subscribed into those theories, but here we are. And because people subscribe to those theories over the course of this year, they think that somehow the 49ers are holding Trey Lance back now. So I get it. If you think that Lance outplayed Jimmy Garoppolo during training camp, which is patently untrue, but if you think that happened falsely, if you got fed bad information, then you think that Kyle Shanahan is somehow, rearranging the deck chairs right now to screw over Trey Lance so he won't play. But the truth is that Lance was never close to outplaying Garoppolo. The truth is that it was a dual track system going on because the 49ers wanted option power. Option power can be discussed within the context of the 49ers ultimately trading Garoppolo as we move forward into the 2023 season and beyond. But it can also be discussed within the context of how the 49ers would situationally play football on the gridiron in 2021. They always envisioned situational play for Trey Lance throughout this entire process. And here comes the dual track part of this. When the 49ers picked Trey Lance, they knew that he was raw, but they knew that he had substantial athleticism, and they knew that he brought a skill set to the table that Jimmy Garoppolo simply did not have. They also knew that Jimmy Garoppolo was potentially a very efficient option at quarterback. In 2017, when Jimmy Garoppolo started those 5 games for the 49ers and earned his current contract, he was the most efficient quarterback in the league. And that's what matters. You want efficiency within the play caller's scheme. Well, look what's happening. Let me add this to the stream right now, and let's see what's happening right now. These are the most efficient quarterbacks in the NFL. Number 1, Matt Stafford. Number 2, Jimmy Garoppolo. Number 3, Aaron Rodgers. Number 4, Kyler Murray. Number 5, Tom Brady. So as you can see, what the 49ers had hoped would happen with Garoppolo knowing Kyle Shanahan's system, with Garoppolo being efficient when he's been healthy, is indeed coming to fruition. And now the 49ers are in position to make a playoff run. When it comes to Trey Lance, the 49ers envisioned Lance operating alongside Jimmy Garoppolo. It was never going to be Trey or Jimmy. It was going to be Trey and Jimmy. If you remember correctly, in training camp, the one area where Trey Lance outperformed Jimmy Garoppolo was in the red zone. That was the one spot where the 49ers thought that Trey Lance would be able to supplement this 49ers offense immediately. So let's take a look at what happened back in training camp in the red zone, because this really gives us the key to solve this puzzle. Overall, Jimmy Garoppolo in situational football, which is what we need to track during this, completed 70% of his passes. Lance completed about 50% of his passes. The same completion percentages stretched out across the preseason. However, despite the fact that Garoppolo was much more efficient than Trey Lance overall in the preseason throughout this move the ball activity, Trey Lance was better than Jimmy Garoppolo in the red zone. Lance completed over 72% of his passes, 8 touchdowns for him versus only 7 for Garoppolo, and that's not even counting the running touchdowns for Trey Lance, and there are more of those for Trey than for Jimmy during the preseason. So, as Kyle Shanahan architected his plan for how this 49ers offense would look in 2021, he envisioned Jimmy Garoppolo moving the 49ers up and down the field with the efficiency that we see now, but he also saw Trey Lance coming in specific leverage situations, most notably the red zone early on, to give the 49ers the boost that they needed, preferably through Trey Lance's legs, or at least the threat to run. It's no coincidence that Trey Lance's first career action came in the red zone in week 1 on the 49ers' second drive of the season after the Alex Mack, Jimmy Garoppolo fumble on their second drive of the season at Detroit. And Trey Lance threw the touchdown pass to Trent Sherfield. Since then, we've seen Lance sporadically, and of course, we saw him start the game against Arizona. That didn't go all too well for Lance or the 49ers. But Recently, we haven't seen any Lance. So what exactly has happened? And I'll share what exactly has happened in my article today. Here you go. Put this big. This is red zone efficiency. The top red zone touchdown rates since 2003. This is as far back as the log goes. The 2021 49ers are the highest ranked team in red zone touchdown rate on record. You could go all the way back to the 2013 Broncos helmed by Peyton Manning. The 2003 Chiefs are on here. 49ers are better than all those teams after Sunday's game. They're at a 77.8% red zone touchdown rate. I don't need to tell you that a 77.8% red zone touchdown rate is excellent. But this is what it's done. Jimmy Garoppolo has been in charge of that 77.8% touchdown rate. He's been the quarterback. So his excellence in the red zone has actually hurt Trey Lance's chances of playing situationally. It was never going to be Trey Lance quarterback one, but it was going to be Trey Lance situational play. But Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers offense has really shocked a lot of people, turned a lot of this on upside down on its head by excelling in the red zone at a historic rate. So there is no logical situation for the 49ers to plug Trey Lance in now because they're doing so well in the red zone under Jimmy Garoppolo. This is 2 + 2 = 4 or 1 + 1 = 2 kind of stuff. It put the 49ers in an interesting spot as far as their long-term plan goes because they were hoping to give Trey Lance some in-game experience through these situational, opportunities. But because Garoppolo is playing so well at those critical junctures on third down in the red zone, that opportunity currently isn't there for Trey Lance. So what does this mean moving forward? Well, the first thing is Garoppolo's played very well over the past 4 games, and this is a good thing for the 49ers. And I can't believe I actually have to say this out loud. You would think that fans of a football team like the 49ers would recognize that it's a good thing that their starting quarterback is playing well. But there is a subset of 49ers fandom that is really pissed off that their quarterback's playing well. That's how insane this has gotten. This has really devolved into psychosis as we're analyzing how the 49ers are moving forward. The truth of the matter is that they have a good starting veteran quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo, who might be playing the best football of his career right now. And the 49ers are very lucky and very fortunate to have that entering a playoff run. While they also have a very talented rookie in Trey Lance, whom they hope can evolve into the next great dual threat quarterback that also operates within the structure of Kyle Shanahan's offense. Those are 2 separate things. You don't have to hate Jimmy Garoppolo to be excited about Trey Lance's prospects moving forward. And you don't have to hate Trey Lance to be excited about what Jimmy Garoppolo is doing right now. The fact that Garoppolo is playing really well, and it's been top of the league efficiency over the past 4 weeks, is a good thing for the 49ers. Yes, it does mean that Trey Lance has to sit a little bit more than the 49ers might have thought, but you're trying to win now in the National Football League. You're not trying to develop players while the veterans are playing well, right? If somebody slips on the 49ers, like a veteran doesn't play well, like Daniel Brunskill, let's say he has a couple terrible games coming up here, and Aaron Banks has really started to turn the corner at right guard. Of course, Aaron Banks is going to play there. If Jimmy Garoppolo had been absolutely terrible for the 49ers through several games this season, and Trey Lance had impressed them in training camp and in practice to the extent that they thought that Trey Lance would be the best option for the 49ers to win, Trey Lance would be starting. Again, nobody is holding Trey Lance back. Shanahan is not sabotaging or holding back a player for whom he spent, 3 first-round draft picks? I mean, Shanahan mortgaged the future for this guy, and he's not going to keep him on the bench for no reason. And right now, I mean, this shouldn't even be a discussion because Garoppolo is playing so well, but this is just kind of a summary response to some of the idiotic comments that I've seen just floating around in my mentions over the past several months. Shanahan has a vested interest in Trey Lance succeeding. And for Trey Lance to succeed, all the data tells us is that it will take time. There should not be a rush with an FCS level quarterback playing immediately in the NFL. Now, absolutely, you should try to get him in there situationally if it helps your football team now. But the 49ers are looking for the best right now. And the best quarterback on the 49ers, as we speak at this moment, is Jimmy Garoppolo. It is not Trey Lance. Another cool little chart that I could show you from the past few weeks is this one right here. This is the red zone chart. But over the past 4 weeks, this is quarterback play. This is completion percentage over expectation on the x-axis and expected points added on the y. You want to be up and to the right, as far as up and to the right as you can. Look where Jimmy Garoppolo is right now. I mean, this is a good thing for the 49ers. They're getting efficient play from Jimmy Garoppolo, and that's all that you can ask for. They can only hope that Trey Lance will be that efficient in the future. It's going to take a while for something like that to evolve. It obviously has taken a while for Jimmy Garoppolo to be able to do that even within the course of this 2021 season. But I hope that this dispels some of the myths, and I'll answer some of these questions right now after I take away that. The Trey Lance, Steve Young developmental comparisons are excellent. I mean, Steve Young had to learn how to deliver from the pocket. He was running around everywhere like a chicken with his head cut off early in his career, and then he learned how to deliver within structure. The West Coast offense is predicated on footwork, 3-step drop, 5-step drop, 7-step drop, based on how many steps in the drop. That's when the ball's supposed to come out. And based on how many steps in the drop and when the ball comes out, that's when the receiver's supposed to break. When you saw Jimmy Garoppolo throw the touchdown pass to Deebo Samuel against the Los Angeles Rams on 4th down, Garoppolo was throwing to a spot. He wasn't necessarily throwing to Deebo Samuel. He was throwing to a spot which Deebo Samuel would reach. But when the throw left Jimmy Garoppolo's hand, Samuel was not yet open and he was nowhere near that spot. But the ball met Deebo Samuel at just the right spot to accentuate yards after the catch and create a touchdown. It was into a tight window, and it's windows like that and complexity like that that a rookie, especially one without any seasoning, right? I mean, FCS level football, let's be honest here. Yeah, I talked to Trey Lance's quarterbacks coach from North Dakota State shortly after the draft, Randy Hedberg, and he was so thankful that Trey Lance would have a chance to play under Jimmy Garoppolo. Lance's own quarterbacks coach realized how beneficial development time for Trey Lance would be. He was way more thankful for it than the average person on Twitter, even though the average person on Twitter or YouTube or wherever who's a 49ers fan should probably be happy that this team has 2 promising quarterbacks in different senses of game style. But anyway, you look at that throw to Deebo Samuel, you look at the precision and the cohesion and the timing that went behind that. You do not expect a rookie to be able to deliver that kind of efficiency on the fly immediately. And it took Steve Young several years, right? It took Steve Young a very long time, which means that this is not out of the question. There's always been a non-zero chance of Garoppolo staying with the 49ers in 2022 next season. It might not be a high chance, but it's a non-zero chance. And the 49ers, Jed York, Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, everybody has been upfront about this since the start. The 49ers are in a good spot. They have Jimmy Garoppolo, who's performed so well over the past 4 weeks, under contract for 1 more season. And they have him under contract at a rate that is not too expensive. At this point, $27 million per year ranks like 13 or 14 for NFL starting quarterbacks. If Garoppolo is giving you top 5 efficiency, you're getting your money's worth at the number 13 or 14 salary. But the main point is the 49ers have Garoppolo under team control through 2022. So they don't have to cross any bridges until they get to them. If you hit this offseason and Trey Lance is not yet close to being ready, because it took a guy like Steve Young a while. It took him, he had to go through hell in Tampa Bay, and then he drove Bill Walsh crazy in San Francisco. It took him a while to become the precise pocket passer that we saw in 1991 and beyond. Well, if Lance is nowhere near ready, why would you burn that bridge with Jimmy Garoppolo if you're going to be a contender again in 2022? It's the most important position. So, of course, you wouldn't burn that bridge. Of course, there's a non-zero chance of Garoppolo staying with the 49ers in 2022 if he continues to light it up at the level that we're seeing right now. I don't care if it makes a lot of you want to puke. That's the reality of the situation. And another reality of the situation is that a very sizable contingent of people undervalue what Garoppolo is bringing and has brought to the 49ers. I showed you the efficiency chart. He's number 2 behind only Stafford. He's ahead of Brady. He's ahead of Kyler Murray. He's ahead of Kirk Cousins, who the 49ers play this weekend, in terms of efficiency. And efficiency is a non-biased way of measuring what a quarterback is contributing on the field within the context of a scheme. If it were so easy to execute Kyle Shanahan's scheme, then Trey Lance would have been in there week 1. It would only make sense for Kyle Shanahan to want to play the rookie that he invested the farm in week 1 if his scheme was so easy to operate. Newsflash, it's not easy. And Jimmy Garoppolo has been pulling the levers in a very impressive way over the past 4 weeks. The future for the 49ers will be determined by what happens from here on out, because they don't have to decide what happens until they reach the bridge of decision. Until then, they would like to maintain their option power, because that's how this team has operated throughout this entire 2021 season. Okay, back to the questions. Why don't I erase option power from the board? And let's see what you guys have to say. But I didn't have him, and Matt Barrows didn't have it. So if you follow The Athletic, Trey Lance did not outplay Jimmy Garoppolo during training camp. There's several reasons why. First of all, this was never an open quarterback competition. Barrows and I correctly reported that it was an open quarterback competition before camp, during camp, after camp. We reported that. Kyle Shanahan said that extremely clearly. Trey Lance did not play against the 49ers first-team defense. Jimmy Garoppolo played against the 49ers first-team defense. That's the biggest difference that you need to know. As far as actual efficiency and who outplayed who, well, why don't we look at the numbers again? And we could also look at my notes if you want. I kept a more meticulous log of this than any reporter at training camp. So I'm happy to be challenged on this because the facts will back it up. So we will just look at the move the ball splits here. Maybe I could zoom in a little bit further. Move the ball is what matters. This is what it comes down to. This is where they move the chains in practice. This is situational stuff. Garoppolo, 54 of 79, 68.4% completion rate. Lance, 34 of 70, under 50%. So Garoppolo was way, way more accurate. The yards per play and the first downs for Garoppolo were also much, much more robust than Trey Lance's. You can go through the logs of practice on every day. And yeah, of course, you'll have a Lance threw a nice deep ball to River Craycraft. But again, he's throwing the River Craycraft. Garoppolo, though, was sharp on the crossers to Brandon Ayuk. On this particular day, neither Jimmy Garoppolo nor Trey Lance were good in a 3rd and 12 situational drill, but nobody's hardly ever good in a 3rd and 12 situational drill. They went 0 for 4. In move the ball on day 13, Garoppolo led a very efficient touchdown drive. Lance was throwing to Jalen Hurd, who's no longer with the team. But there are also days down here where you had Lance just missing passes in the flat. I mean, easy passes that he was consistently missing. He would hit some of the big plays like the ones to Travis Benjamin. But at the end of the day, Trey Lance just wasn't converting first downs in the move the ball periods at a very efficient clip. And the same thing started happening during some of the time in preseason when Trey Lance wasn't facing 3rd and 4th stringers. And this is nothing against Trey Lance. Again, he was coming straight from the FCS level, and he was a raw rookie. Simply put, it was very clear in training camp that Jimmy Garoppolo was better than Trey Lance as far as situational football goes and a more efficient option for the 49ers to take the field in 2021. Does that mean that Jimmy Garoppolo's ceiling is higher than Trey Lance's? Of course not. Trey Lance has a prodigious ceiling, and that was on display during training camp. But people are confusing individual throw talent. And there were some wow moments from Trey Lance during training camp and preseason. People are confusing that with overall efficiency. Here's the thing. Overall efficiency wins you football games. Wow plays get on YouTube. You want to be on YouTube or do you want to win football games? I think the 49ers would rather win football games. So that's why Trey Lance was never close to beating Jimmy Garoppolo out in training camp. And I was consistent in my reporting of that throughout. You can go and check out the spreadsheet, and you can go check out the detailed notes every day. But I mean, there's YouTube videos of me talking about this every day. It was never close. In fact, we're just going to put this up one more time. Lance never came close to outplaying Garoppolo in training camp. Let's get that myth out of here because it just was not true. It doesn't look like Lance can do that within the context of the 49ers system. And even if Lance does throw 180 yards, it is preposterously stupid to measure quarterbacks' value through yardage. We're not playing fantasy football here. These are grown men playing an actual game. So let's get off the Madden. Let's get off the fantasy football. Let's watch the actual game and let's analyze the actual game. And Jimmy Garoppolo has been the most efficient quarterback in football over the past 4 weeks. If you want smart football analysis, come here. And we're watching Jimmy Garoppolo play good football. So if you're a 49ers fan, you can appreciate that over the past few weeks. But Trey Lance definitely has not shown the capability of delivering efficiently at the NFL level yet. And hey, guess what? I recommended the 49ers should draft Trey Lance back in January. I think he's fully capable of that. I'm just realistic. I just know football. And I know that you're not going to throw Trey Lance as a rookie out there and expect the results you're getting from Jimmy Garoppolo right now because it is impossible. It's just not going to happen. Garbage time is not going to help Trey Lance that much anyway. I was the first to tweet yesterday that I thought Trey Lance should be in just for injury preservation. You know, I didn't want the 49ers to expose Jimmy Garoppolo to unnecessary injury late in the game. So I thought Trey could have come in a drive sooner, 2 drives sooner. He didn't come in a drive sooner, 2 drives sooner, whatever. Trey Lance is getting more out of practice, especially the 49ers scout team against the 49ers first team defense, than he is against the Jaguars not playing hard late in game. So, I mean, you can criticize Kyle Shanahan for exposing Jimmy Garoppolo to injury unnecessarily over those last few drives in that game, but you're not missing out on a lot from Trey Lance. Yeah, the fans will be excited to see him. He's not going to grow a substantial amount handing off against the Jaguars to run out the clock at the end of the game. So that's what I have to say about that. And again, this is the same thing. It's not an ideal situation to gain experience in garbage time against Jacksonville. Guys aren't playing that hard. It's Jacksonville. You could better tailor the looks for Trey Lance to prepare him at practice. I mean, the biggest myth in all of this is that Trey Lance can't get better sitting on the bench. He can get way better sitting on the bench because he's running the scout team against the 49ers first team defense at practice. And the 49ers can adjust and tailor the looks exactly how they need to give Trey Lance the preparation that he needs. You can't tailor any looks when he's playing Jacksonville and handing off because the pass game is out the window late in the game. So that's all overblown. I mean, yes, yesterday Lance had a chance to play a little bit more. Shanahan didn't put him in. But did Trey Lance lose anything because of that? Did he lose any potential growing experience because of that? No. It was Jacksonville in the fourth quarter in a 30-point game. I mean, it was there's nobody left in the stands. There's like 10 49ers fans left in the stands. I mean, it would have been a worse practice than the actual practice. So, yeah, I think I hope that we've debunked that the whole garbage time syndrome there. That just wasn't going to happen. There's some Garoppolo questions. Trey operating with ones or twos, nothing to do with his grasp of the scheme's timing and decision making. Much of that is also drilled in the meeting room, something none of us see in here. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, well, Trey operating with the ones or the twos was a reflection of what was going on in the meeting rooms. If Trey Lance was blowing the 49ers away everywhere in the meeting room, you know, on his iPad, also on the field, he would have gotten a split share with Garoppolo with the ones during training camp, right? Because the 49ers would want to start developing that cohesion, but he wasn't. So that tells us that obviously Jimmy Garoppolo, as expected, was still ahead in that regard. So here's another question. Garoppolo being a 9-year vet and Trey being a rookie, how far off were they in that regard? I mean, Garoppolo was way ahead of Trey Lance, so he was where he was supposed to be. Some of these questions, I'm sorry, I just don't understand them. Lance is a rookie. He wasn't as good during training camp. He isn't the better option now, and the 49ers hope that he is by next season. And if not by next season, by 2023. But if it isn't by 2023, a lot of people are going to be in big trouble for picking Trey Lance. It's as simple as it is. But he's a raw rookie. He's not on Garoppolo's level now. And I think the final finishing thought here is that Garoppolo just simply is not valued or appreciated by a lot of people in the context that he should be appreciated. Nobody is saying that Jimmy Garoppolo is a physical juggernaut. He obviously has physical limitations to his game, especially in the sense of mobility and running, right? That somebody like Trey Lance doesn't. But first things first, Garoppolo can make a lot of the throws that people say that he can't. He can throw outside the numbers, and he can throw deep. I mean, we already saw it with the deep throw to Deebo Samuel against Chicago. It's just that the 49ers don't run that as much because their offensive line this season, especially following the Mike McGlinchey injury, is a big question mark on the right side. In fact, Garoppolo's touchdown to Brandon Ayuk came when he was getting drilled by the edge rusher from Jacksonville coming around Jalen Moore. That play led the 49ers to bench Jalen Moore. That's how bad it was. Like, okay, you're going to get Jimmy Garoppolo lit up. We're going to bench you, and they put Tom Compton in instead. The 49ers operate within a specific offensive framework. They're trying to generate yards after the catch. They're trying to keep they're trying to keep the game in front of them. They're trying to play this game downhill. So obviously the run game is a big deal for Kyle Shanahan. His offensive line focuses on run blocking. And when that's the case, and you're not the best pass protecting offensive line, you have to play games on your terms. And when Jimmy Garoppolo has a quick release, which he does, you have to get the ball out quickly. That is the strong suit of Jimmy Garoppolo's game. That's how the 49ers are going to play it. So it's not a negative against Jimmy Garoppolo that the 49ers play a certain way due to the restrictions of their offense, which start with the offensive line and which are dictated, and this is not a restriction, but their style of play is dictated by the fact they have a bunch of guys that can get yards after the catch. So you have to realize that Garoppolo is operating within a certain scheme that not every quarterback in the league can operate. If every quarterback in the league could operate the scheme that Garoppolo is successfully executing right now, A, Trey Lance would be starting, and B, if they didn't have Trey Lance, they would have simply cut Garoppolo and signed a guy like Cam Newton for $10 million. But obviously those players, according to Kyle Shanahan, will not cut it for the 49ers as of right now, and Jimmy Garoppolo is the guy. That's why I say that he's undervalued, because there is a lot of pre-snap responsibility at the line of scrimmage, and it's not easy. I talked about the throw to Deebo Samuel earlier. It's not easy to thread the needle and run a rhythm-based offense within the parameters that the 49ers have set up. You have to have a very specific skill set and very specific accuracy on some of these throws to do it without committing too many errors that make you inefficient. And Jimmy Garoppolo is managing that over the past 4 weeks. So that's where the 49ers are right now. Garoppolo's right here. Lance is right here. Lance might play if they need a boost at certain parts of the offense. I've been advocating for Lance to play, especially when the 49ers were struggling to get that infusion of energy. But it's just not going to happen if Jimmy Garoppolo and the offense are dominating in the red zone, the spot where Trey Lance was initially supposed to give them that boost. If Garoppolo's playing this well, it is a good thing for the 49ers, and their fans need to chill out. Again, Garoppolo's played very well over the past 4 games, and this is a good thing for your football team. If you're a fan of a football team and your quarterback's playing well, there's not a problem. 49ers have what we call option power moving forward if this continues. So enjoy the game against the Vikings. I'm going to have a lot more YouTube live action. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, at Lombardi himself on Twitter, and obviously this YouTube channel is growing. So I hope that clears up a lot of stuff with this Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance drama, all this quarterback talk. It has been wild this year, and I just got sick of it. So I want to do something to address the conspiracy theories, because sometimes the most simple answer is, in fact, the correct one. That's been the case in this situation. The 49ers have a good veteran quarterback. He's playing well, and they have a rookie who they decided long ago that they were going to develop with the long play, And just because the long play is still happening when it was still supposed to be happening doesn't mean there's any funny business going on. It means that the plan is actually proceeding as the 49ers have wanted it to proceed. All right, guys, thank you. You guys all take care.